Welcome to Muzzle Flash. My name is Rick Hardman, and with me today is Diana Whittington. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. The world has pretty much flipped upside down in that time. I think the last video that I did, we had just gone into the COVID lockdown, and we're now in phase 2, 3, 4, I don't know what phase we're in of the lockdowns, honestly. And we've had several weeks of riots. I can't remember if I let you guys know. I do work at a gun shop. I'm going to do my best to not name that gun shop that I work at. I don't know how cool the owners are going to be if I mention the name of it. I will tell you, when the COVID lockdown started, it's been like Black Friday every single day that we've been open for the last 3 months. We can't keep firearms or ammo on the shelves. The firearms that are flying off the shelves, I would say 75% of them have been going to first-time gun owners. I'm making this video for you. You're a first-time gun owner. You saw that the world was coming to an end. You got your gun. Now what? So the first thing that I'm going to cover is, what are you going to be doing with your gun? If you're going to be using it for home defense and just taking it out to the range, really, all you need is a box for your gun. That's perfect. Keep a lock on that box, keep it up on a shelf, keep it under your bed as long as it's locked up. Make sure you try and get out and practice with it every now and then. You just want to make sure that that gun is accessible to you. In a box like this, you can very easily just pick the gun up, take it to the range, go shoot, go practice. Now, we're going to start working, I'm going to start working with Diana. She has handled firearms in the past.
A long time ago.
Been a long time ago.
Right.
But what I'm going to be working with her as if she's a brand new gun owner. In less than 5 to 10 minutes, I can teach you the basics of how to stand, how to operate your firearm, what to do with your hands, all of that. And I've done this plenty of times while I've actually been on the floor of the gun show, or the gun store, talking to people about their firearms. Again, a lot of brand new owners, I give them the 5-minute basics of how to handle this thing and what they're going to be doing with their body. I'm going to demonstrate that with you right now, okay?
Okay.
So why don't you come over here on this side of the table. All right, this is my SIG P365. Demonstrating right here, it is completely empty. No magazine in here. The magazine that I'm going to put in is empty. Okay? Are you right-handed or left-handed shooter?
Right-handed.
Okay. So what I want you to do is when you're holding the firearm, I'm going to hand it over to you. I want you to make sure you get a nice high and tight grip on the firearm just like this, okay? This part of the firearm is generally called the beaver tail, all right? And that is designed to go in this part of your hand. It helps keep the gun from flying up when you shoot it, okay? So that's the first thing. We're gonna just put it right there,
right there.
Okay? Yep, just like that. Doing a great job keeping your finger off the trigger. I like that already, okay? Now you can go ahead and bend the rest of your fingers around just like that. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we're going to show over here her fingers off the trigger. The rest of her fingers have gripped in around the firearm just like this. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to show what's going on this side. You have this nice empty space right here, right? With your left hand, what I want you to do is put this part of your left hand right in there just like that, okay? And then your fingers wrap around completely like that. Your thumbs rest on right up here towards the top of the frame of the firearm, but I want your right thumb on top of your left thumb, okay? This is what's called a thumbs forward shooting grip, okay? Now, that is generally how you're gonna be holding the firearm this entire time, okay? So, you don't have to squeeze it very hard, but I don't want you like, you don't have to squeeze it hard, but I don't want you to treat it like it's an egg, okay? Okay, now, from this point, we're gonna work from the ground up, okay? Now I'm gonna get a firearm out of here, this box. Again, just want to demonstrate, it's empty. Okay, so I was gonna get the other one that I've got on, but it's not empty. Okay, so what I want you to do first of all, keep that firearm just like that, right? Your grip just like that. There's 3 different stances that we generally teach, okay, that are generally taught today. Okay, so this is my firearm that I'm going to be using. I just want to demonstrate, completely empty, okay, nothing in there as well. Okay, so my hands are just like yours right now, all right? There are 3 basic stances that are taught when you're learning to shoot a pistol, okay? The first stance, the primary stance, and Tracy, if you want to move kind of over this way, I don't want to end up pointing at you. Yeah. Okay, so she's not in the line of fire. I'm not going to be pointing a firearm at anybody. The first basic stance is called the isosceles stance. Your feet are generally shoulder width apart, lined up even with each other. And then when you're pointing the firearm, your arms and your feet are making an isosceles triangle. Okay. That's a triangle that's narrower at the base than it is along the top sides. Okay? This was a really common stance for a while. I think some agencies probably still teach this. Okay. The other stance that has kind of fallen out of favor as much, you'll still see it used occasionally, is the Weaver stance. The Weaver stance is based on a rifle shooting stance in which you would have the rifle like this. You just transition your trigger grip up to your front hand, just like this. So your left foot is more aggressively forward. Okay. You're in the Weaver stance, your weight is actually up on your left foot, okay? This was taught for a long time. I think it came out of the 50s, I believe. My history's not too great on that. If you're commenting and you know all the origins on it, awesome. I'm glad. I would love to learn. All right, the stance that I typically personally rely on is called the modified isosceles. It's about halfway between the Weaver stance and the isosceles stance. So to start with, your feet are going to be like this, kind of side by side, but I want you to take just a half step forward with your left foot. The toes on your right foot line up with the center of your left foot, okay? Now, you lean forward in this one so that your shoulder is over the top of your left foot. I'm leaning forward at my hips. My shoulder is over the top of my left foot, and then I press out towards my target just like this, okay? This is the modified isosceles stance. Okay. This is really similar to a kind of a boxing stance or a fighting stance. The reason I tend to use this one is because it allows me to pivot and transition between multiple targets if I have to do that every time. Okay. So again, the reason that I'm in this stance is it allows me to transition quickly and smoothly between multiple targets and keep my eye out at all times, okay? All right, so go ahead and let's take a look at that stance for you. Okay? Yeah, show me the modified isosceles stance. Let's see what you got. Okay? Take a look. Okay, good. I want you to lean forward just a little bit more at your hips. Bend forward at your hips just a little bit.
Oh,
great.
Like this.
Yep. Okay. Now the reason you're doing this is it turns. Go ahead and stay like that. The reason you're doing this is it turns your entire body into a shock absorber. Okay. The reason for leaning forward. So let's go ahead and lower down. I know that it's some of the movie. Okay, the reason for leaning forward at the hips is it turns your entire body into a shock absorber. Okay, so if you have recoil coming from the firearm, it actually comes into your arms, through your shoulders, and out into your hips.
Okay.
It allows you to stay on target for repeated follow-up shots if need be. Okay? So Diana, how long has it been since you've actually been to a shooting range?
Oh gosh, probably 25 years.
25 years. They're practicing for NASCAR. They're turning left and then turning left. I mean, that's my favorite thing they do. Is they turn left and turn left. All right. So you said it's been about 25 years since you've been to a range. Was it an indoor or outdoor range?
It was an indoor range.
Was it local?
Yes.
Bullet hole? Okay. So, yeah, the Bullet Hole's a great range. I have been there many, many times. I mainly stay at the range at the store that I work at right now. You know, it's in Wyandotte County, that's all I'm gonna say. And it's a great range. Lots of technological advantages of using this particular range, including touch screen targets. You can touch the button on the target control and it goes out to a specific distance.
Okay.
No rolling it out there with like the old windshield roller, you know, and saying, oh yeah, that looks like
about the right.
yeah, that looks like about 10 feet, you know, 15, I don't know, maybe. So so if you go to an indoor range or you go to an outdoor range, a lot of the rules are going to be the same. Most ranges do not want you to draw from the hip or draw from anywhere and shoot, okay? Most ranges are not going to allow excessive rapid fire. The one that I work at does. It's okay. You can shoot as fast as you want to, just make sure that you're controlling your shots.
Right.
Some basic requirements that you're going to have at every range. Hearing protection. I know that in some of the movies, the guys are out there on the range and they're shooting and it just hurts me to look at that. You know, they're shooting and they don't have anything on their ears. You can tell that is Hollywood special effects gunpowder that they're using. It's not the real deal. Okay, so this is a typical style of ear protection that you can use.
Does it
okay,
pull down?
it will pull down. So really, what you do is you take this and you just put it on top of your hat and just pull it down over the top of your ears. It'll automatically adjust. These have a noise reduction rating of about 23 to 24 decibels. That's enough to protect your ears from the gunfire. I'm talking loud, you can still hear me though, okay? But if there was a gunshot going off, it's gonna muffle that to the point where it's not going to bother you. The next thing that is gonna be required at every range is eye protection. Now, if you're shooting at an outdoor range, these sunglasses are generally gonna work. At an indoor range, you can wear them, but why? It's gonna make it harder for you to see. You're gonna generally want clear or amber or yellow tinted lenses like what she has here, okay? These are specifically shooting glasses. If you have reading glasses or prescription eyewear, that is going to work. Sunglasses inside, generally not. You kind of look like a goob, honestly, if you're wearing your sunglasses inside. I'm just gonna be honest, okay? The next thing, you have to have closed-toed shoes. Your shoes will technically work. I would advise wearing shoes like this, tennis shoes, boots. Hot brass between the toes sucks. It is bad. You do not want that. Don't go in there in flip-flops or sandals thinking that you're gonna get on the range. They are going to put the surgical booties on your feet and you're gonna look like a goober. It happens. All right, and I gotta say this. I have seen ladies come into the range looking like they're dressed for the club, wearing the mini skirt, the low cut top. Hot brass down the front of your shirt hurts. You don't want that. Wear a t-shirt, okay? Something that the neck isn't like hanging open. Make sure it's nice and snug at the neck. That's just ideal. I've had hot brass go down the back of my shirt before. No, not gonna do that, okay? It's not fun, okay? The last thing, you can take that stuff off right now. It's okay. The last thing I'm going to tell you, when you go to an indoor range, if they allow people to shoot rifles indoors, like an AR-15, an AR-10, anything like that, odds are pretty good you're going to end up next to somebody who's shooting an AR pistol. Okay, an AR pistol is an AR-15 that has a barrel length of less than 16 inches. Usually these things are between 8 and 10 inches long, and they are loud. They are going, those things, when they go off on an indoor range, they rattle your very soul. No joke. I got my revenge on one guy with an AR pistol by shooting an AR-10 with a muzzle brake right next to him. Yeah. That's even louder. That's louder by like a factor of 10. I was shooting a 308. It was great. Just be prepared. There's a lot of noise, a lot of confusion. Now at the bullet hole, they don't allow you to shoot rifles indoors unless you're on their downstairs range, I think. So, but on their typical upstairs range, they do not allow that. You're going to be next to people that are just shooting pistols. But yeah, just be prepared. It is loud. If you need assistance, you're going to have somebody that works for that range walking around called a range safety officer. Now, I will let you know, the range safety officers are the kings. If they say something doesn't go, it absolutely does not go. They will kick you out. They will kick you out, okay? So, last thing I'm going to tell you, generally when you're going to the range, it's a good idea to have your gun either in a case like this, or, we'll verify this, why don't you go ahead and put that in your holster. Okay. Yep, and just pull the shirt down right behind it. Right behind it, yep, and we're going to show over here. Or in a holster. Keep your gun in the box or in your holster at all times until you get up to the bench and you're ready to shoot. I will let you know, working at a gun store, my favorite type of idiot to come in is the one who says, "Hey, can you help me find a holster?" They pull it right out in the middle of the store. I have had to grab more firearms than I ever should have in my life. Keep the gun holstered until you're at the range. The people that work at the gun store will appreciate it. You will appreciate not being kicked out of the gun store or off the range. Last rule of every range, you want to keep your firearm pointed downrange at all times in a safe direction, okay? So I have taken my son out shooting, and I have let him know he has 0 chances. I am giving this warning that I'm giving him, and is his one chance. If I'm standing next to him and I see him take his firearm, which again, we're still empty here, and I see him take his firearm and he gets done shooting and then he's like pointing it like this at the partition next to us, game over, we're done, we're probably not coming back. Or if he's shooting and he ends up pointing at the ceiling or right at the table in front of us. No, the only safe way to point your firearm is downrange. That's where everything has been conditioned to absorb bullets. Everything at the end of the range is made to take shots. Anything at the top, the floor, the walls beside you, assume that they are not. And even if they are, you don't want to ricochet off of there and come back and shoot the person next to you. Any questions?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay.
Could you show me again how to open?
Yeah, how to rack the slide. Okay, so go ahead and unholster there. Okay, so real quick before we do this again, I'm just going to show camera we are empty. Okay, this is mine. We're still empty. Okay, now, so you're holding your firearm like this, okay? It's really easy to rack the slide. What I want you to do, and this is a method that I teach people that don't necessarily have the forearm strength to do, to do it like this and, switch hands, do it whatever way. I do this a lot. I practice a lot, Okay, so this is muscle memory for me, and I'm not, you know, not small, I know that. Okay, so what I want you to do, we're gonna use some basic physiology where you actually have stronger muscles on this. Okay, so what I want you to do is turn the gun over just like this in your hand. Okay, keeping your finger off the trigger.
Okay.
Your right hand comes in just like this. Okay, now do try to avoid getting your thumb anywhere close to there. Okay, that is a pinch point.
Right?
Yeah, yep, okay. Now from here, what we're gonna do is in one firm motion, we're gonna push forward hard with your right shoulder. Okay, on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Just right shoulder. You got it.
Okay.
Okay. No, that's it. Okay. Now you have over here. This is called your slide lock. Okay. What I want you to do is put this thumb up on that slide lock. You might have to turn it around a little bit. Okay. With this hand, gradually pull back on there. You're going to take off some of that pressure and then push up. Good. You did it.
Right.
That's it. So with the slide lock, what you're doing is you're pulling back here.
So you want it to be a gradual thing, not a slamming it shut?
Oh no, when I'm doing it, I let it slam forward. Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely okay, because when you pull the trigger, right, the gun goes off, and the gun is going like this. I mean, it is made to do that.
Okay.
So it's okay to do that.
All right.
Okay, now, so let's try that one more time. Okay, so go ahead and turn the firearm over.
Okay.
Right, yep, now push forward with your right shoulder. Great. Now turn the gun back over a little bit, okay? And use your right thumb up on the slide release, right there.
So
Okay.
it's on top.
Yep. And you're pushing down as you're there.
Okay.
You got it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
No problem.
I was afraid it would be too hard for you. Thanks so much.
Yeah. No worries at all. There's a lot of times you'll see, if you're watching movies, watching TV, you'll see guys that are just real casually doing stuff like this. There's a technique I teach it like that for newer shooters especially, because just standing there and doing that all day long, it's not the most natural thing in the world. Not everybody has the upper body or the forearm strength to be able to do that. I have to be able to sell a firearm to anybody, and if they want that firearm, they want to know how to do that.
Right. Be able to
So,
use it.
yep. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, so if you were to go out and shoot, oh, I know what we forgot to cover.
Okay.
It's really important for you also to know which eye is your dominant eye.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a real simple test for that. What you do, go ahead and set that right up there. I'll keep that over there too. Okay? Real simple test to find that. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it right up here on the camera. I'm going to get a little closer. This is extreme close-up. Is that close enough? Okay. What you're going to be doing is looking at a fixed point, kind of a smaller point. All right? I tell people in the store to just look at the very tip of my nose. Okay? Then you're going to take your hands and you're going to make a small opening in your hands, put them together just like this. Now, if you can't tell right away, I'm right eye dominant, okay? I'm using my right eye there. To look at that, if I close my right eye, the lens of the camera disappears. Open my right eye again, it's right back, okay? So you should be able to alternate closing your eyes when you have your hands put like this, and whatever eye is able to see what it is you're looking at, that's your dominant eye. So why don't you go try that? Let's see what eye is dominant for you.
Up here?
Yep, okay. So stand
Okay.
right about there, okay?
Okay.
So now alternate closing your eyes, and which
I don't
one
even
can
know
you
if I
still see it through?
Close my right eye. So it's my right eye that I'm using.
It's your right eye that
Yeah.
you're using.
Mhm.
Okay, so your right eye is your dominant eye. The reason that matters, if you are a left eye dominant shooter and you're pointing out towards your target and you're trying to close, you're closing your left eye, which is your dominant eye, that is never going to look right, it's never going to feel right. So if you're a left eye dominant shooter, what you end up doing is tucking your chin into your shoulder just a little bit which allows your body, it tells your brain, hey, yes, I get a focus on that left eye. Okay? So that's, you're a right-handed, right eye dominant shooter. When you're shooting, your right eye lines up right down your right arm, and you're able to.
Is that pretty normal, or is that?
I would say probably about 20% of the people that I work with, and this is just kind of spitballing the number, but I mean, it happens to me almost every time I'm in the store, that you're going to find, yeah, about, maybe it's closer to like 1 in 15, that are opposite eye hand
right
dominant.
eye, left.
Right eye left, yeah, or left hand, right eye, yeah. I've worked with people who are both ways on that. Yeah, so that's it. There's a lot more that needs to be said that we can't really demonstrate safely here, like how to find a good sight picture. I don't really want to point the firearm at myself. I don't enjoy doing that. I get it done to me enough when I'm working at the gun store. But that's really about it. So from the ground up, your feet are just like this.
Right.
My knees are flexed. They're not necessarily
locked,
bent.
yeah.
Just kind of flexed and loose. Leaning over at the hip so that my left shoulder is over the top of my left foot. Pressing out towards my target, lining my right eye up, down my right arm.
Okay.
Okay?
You didn't show the one about leaning back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the reason that we went through all of this is because we wanted to demonstrate proper technique.
Correct.
Okay. This is one of those things that you do not want to do. Okay? I apologize in advance for anybody who I'm going to offend with this. I have heard this referred to on several videos that I've watched and from other people that I've talked to as the chick lean. Again, I am so sorry. Okay, and the reason it's called the chick lean is because it's usually novice female shooters who are doing this. A firearm has weight. Okay, when you get it fully loaded, it's even a little bit more heavy. And it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel natural to lean forward and have a heavier object out in front of you. So what a lot of novice shooters do is they get into the isosceles position, which is this. And again, if you're standing like this, that's okay. But then instead they know that the firearm is heavy, so they end up leaning back like this because they feel like they have to counterbalance the weight of that firearm. Now what happens when you start shooting this and you're pulling the trigger, recoil's going off. Your body's not set up to absorb that recoil, and it pushes you farther and farther and farther and farther and farther back, and pretty soon you're limboing. Okay? So we want to avoid doing that. It doesn't feel natural right at first.
Right. So
But
it's something
you lean
you have
into
to
it.
work at to where it feels
Yeah.
normal. Okay.
Exactly.
Practice, I should say.
Lean
Practice.
into it, practice, develop the muscle memory to do it. Every time I get out and I'm on the range, when I address my target, when I'm facing it, this is how I go. This is muscle memory. I've built this up over years of practicing and just falling right into it. So I mean, my hands even go to how they are supposed to be, just naturally. Click, out there, boom, okay? And that's because I've practiced it just so many times. I've developed that technique.
What do you recommend for somebody who's a new gun owner to, how often should they go to the range, or how much time should they spend there to, I guess it's probably different with each person, but.
The challenging part with the current outbreak situation and the riot situation, it's led to a shortage, okay, of ammunition and firearms. I recommend if you can get out initially once a week, do that. And then as time goes by and you're becoming more and more proficient, get out once every 2 weeks, and then get out once a month. Yeah, get out once a month just to make sure that you're knocking the rust off every now and then, okay? I personally still try to get out twice a month to shoot, but I've got a fairly large stockpile of ammunition. So I'll take a box or two to the range, and I'll go through about 100 rounds twice a month, and then call it good. But the other reason I'm practicing so often is because I'm on my church. I run my church's armed safety team, and I have to be accurate.
Right.
I have to be good. I have to always be on and ready for that, so I don't allow the rust to accumulate. So yeah, for the average person, get to the point where you're going out once a month, you know, you'll be fine. For a newbie, try to get out once a week.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, this has been Muzzle Flash. Hopefully it'll be a little bit sooner before I do my next video. See you guys.